3, 2, 1, roll away.
Welcome to another race analysis. This is the 2025 Super Series. This is round 1 and it is a team time trial. This one's a bit interesting because the results of the team time trial are going to set which grade we're in for the rest of the series. So you do well, you're going to be racing Cat 1. You stuff it up, you're going to be racing Cat 2. Now we reckon we're a pretty solid Cat 2 team in a 3 category system, but there's only 2 categories this year, and our plan was to just go as hard as we can, score as highly as we can, and see where we end up. Right off the bat, we're a little bit disorganised. Alistair gets us off to a really good start, and Moth really starts putting the herd on second wheel. Our strategy for this race was to try to finish with at least 3. The time's taken for the third rider, and any rider that finishes within 30 seconds of that third rider also gets the same team time. We've got a couple of lighter guys on the team. We knew that they were unlikely to be able to stick with it. It was not too windy, a lot less windy than the year before when a couple of teams were blown right off the road. But some of our lighter guys were always going to struggle. But we've got some engines in the team. Harry, who's just moving through to the front now, he's super strong. He hasn't been doing a whole lot of road or crit racing in the past. This is fairly new for him. But looking at how he's turned out so far this season, he's got a big future ahead of him. Moth, with the orange bike, who just pulled the second turn, is genuinely one of the nicest guys in cycling, and turns out is one of the biggest watts, his biggest engines as well. Alistair, who started us up, has all the experience in the world, knows what he's doing, and can pull mighty big turns. This is a discipline I'm usually pretty good at. A team time trial gives me a lot of time to sit in the wheels, but as you'll see this year with some of the stronger riders that we've got in Harry and Moth, and that the power that I had to put out even in the wheels didn't give me the recovery that I'm used to. Kind of sketchy through this corner here. I think I came off the power a bit late and sort of rolled up the back of the team. Harry's just coming back after his turn, and this is the worst place to finish a turn because you're just coming up a hill. And you can hear me yelling just to ease off a little bit because coming out of that corner badly, we kind of got a bit disorganised. Now, we're 2.5 minutes into this race and I'm already at 180 beats per minute. But since we're aiming for a time of around 10 minutes, it's going to hurt from the get-go, and if it's not hurting, you're not doing it right. Now, one of the challenges of racing on this course is that it's actually set up to be a whole lot of different courses, and some of the tracks aren't necessarily clear, and unfortunately here, we're supposed to be turning left, and a couple of the riders just took the wrong turn. We lost Miles, who I think got the wrong instruction, and unfortunately I went off track far enough that I had to sprint to get back onto the wheel here. And I'm doing 700 watts, having pulled a turn not too long ago, and again we're coming around that corner up a hill, and this hurt a lot. I'm up to 186 beats a minute, 187. I don't usually see much north of that. And Alistair, who's one of our bigger and stronger riders, he's just not quite able to close that gap, and we lose 2 riders, with Miles ending up somewhere in the middle of nowhere. But these things happen. We get things back together. I think Kanane goes on the front at this point. He's our sprinter for the year. This is absolutely not his discipline. He's a pretty small bloke, and although he's got watts for days, he's always going to suffer in a race like this. But he gets on the front and just sort of calms things down a bit, gets us organised, and manages to slot back in at the end, and now we're back into our rotation. Hilly pulls off. Hilly is getting stronger and stronger every single time I race with him, and he pulled a fantastic turn. And as he goes back, you can see in the rear camera that absolutely painful dangle when you've pulled a turn, you've dropped a wheel, and now you're fighting to get back on. This is really brutal. Jumping forward a little bit, Gordo's just pulled his turn, and now Harry is on the front. And I don't think I'd really appreciated just how strong Harry is. But one of the things I really love about this pull he does is you can see about every 10 seconds he's turning the head around, just making sure that we're all still here. I'm doing, just shy of my threshold sitting in his wheel, and he motors on and on and on. For the sake of keeping this short and sharp, his pull was about 40 seconds, and for the last half of it I was sitting at threshold. but that's all right. These short TTTs, you're meant to be pretty much at threshold or just above the whole time. And amazingly, we're 6 minutes in, and I'm really only coming into my second pull of the race. I probably should have been up there earlier, but because of that sprint effort I did earlier, having to catch back up, I was so gassed. I wasn't able to sort of jump ahead. And I end up only pulling for less than 30 seconds and barely over 350 watts. Coming through, Kanane, our sprinter, again, he shouldn't be on the front in a race like this, but he is so strong right now. He's riding so well. He pulls a decent turn, and then Hilly gets on the front again. Hilly, as I said, has come such a long way this year, and I'm convinced that he's stronger than me, which, considering where we were even last year, is just, he's clearly on the good stuff. And he comes through for his last turn of the race. So Hilly finishes his last turn, and then the big dog Moth gets on the front again. And bearing in mind I'm third wheel at this point, other than freewheeling around the corner, I'm going to be once again just sitting at threshold in the wheels trying to keep up. You can see Kanane in my rear camera sprinting to stay in the wheels, and Moth's turn just goes on and on and on. Harry, once again, he gets to the front, and I'm at 400 watts. Kanane's sitting in my wheel. I'm a terrible draft, so you don't want to sit on my wheel. Kanane's hurting, sitting in the last wheel, so Moth comes back again. And once again, Harry is driving it on the front so hard, and we're coming through to the last 3 or 4 corners of this event. And I'm sitting at 400 watts in second wheel, 187 beats a minute. I know we've only got a few minutes of this race left, but being out here at the bend, you can't really see the finish line until you're in the last couple of corners, and it's so disorienting when you go through the same sort of sequence of left, left, right, left, left, rights. So I get back on the front. This is absolutely going to be my last turn. I can barely keep the power over 300 watts. I'm at 190 beats a minute, and I decide at this point that so long as there's still 2 other riders in front of Kanane, this is going to be my last pull. And so I do go on perhaps a bit longer than I might have if I was going to stay with the group. Olmay here from, I think that's Dash or something, gets out of the way. And that's really about all I got. I'm, barely pushing 340 watts. And I flick the elbow and just let them know. Time to go. Kanane wanted me to hop back in thinking that it was the 4th rider, but I did not have anything left in the tank. And so as they went up this fine little rise, I realised that even sprinting I wasn't going to be able to stay on. I stuck with it as long as I could. In previous years I've been able to come out of these last 2 corners and do a bit of a lead out, or at least stick with some of the stronger riders, but I think the sprint effort I did early on was enough to cook me, and I just could not keep the pedals turning over. At this point I was close enough to the finish that I was pretty confident that I wasn't going to lose 30 seconds, and Harry and Moth just drove Kanane to the line. So of the 12 teams that entered in Open Men, we finished in 5th, which, I've got to say, given some of the teams that finished ahead of us and the engines in those teams, I'm really happy with that result. We finished with a team time of 9:55, which is the fastest team I've been involved in ever. My time of 10:05 was my PB on this course, even though I'm sitting 10-20 seconds back. So we absolutely deserve to be in Cat 1, but it's going to suck for the rest of the series given how strong some of the other teams are. Anyway, that's that. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.